We do have an update about the Trump-Russia connection. We had this question throughout the entire campaign. How much Trump coordination happened with Russia? How much contact was there? And there's been a notable lack of criticism from the right about what seemed to be connections between Trump and Russia. And there's also been a notable benefit to Donald Trump's campaign from believed Russian hacking. And of course, we had these suspicions that part of the reason why the Trump tax returns weren't released was because it would have exposed a Russia connection, which I guess would have been damaging. Although, like Trump said, he could shoot people on Fifth Avenue. His supporters would still support him. He could probably reveal connections to Russia, financial connections, and his supporters more than likely would still support him. Well, it's all come off the walls in the last week. Senior Russian diplomat and deputy foreign minister. I can't even believe I'm doing this story, Pat. This guy's name is Sergei Ryabkov, probably the pronunciation. As I mentioned, he's the deputy foreign minister in Russia. He's confirmed that Russian government officials were communicating directly with members of Donald Trump's campaign team. He was quoted as saying, "We have just begun to consider ways of building dialogue with the future Donald Trump administration and channels we will be using for those purposes." Now, immediately, Trump spokeswoman Hope Hicks said, "Oh, yeah, that's not true. We've had no contact with Russian officials before Tuesday's elections." I want to be super, super clear. Donald Trump has denied many times having financial or other ties to Moscow, period. If that ends up being proven false to any extent, it will be yet another example of the not politician lies, but just flat out bold-faced lies of the Trump campaign. And this is not proof, Pat. This statement from the Russian diplomat is not proof. You can make the argument that he's saying this specifically to make Trump look bad. At this point, it's pretty clear that Vladimir Putin sees Trump as an opportunity to have sanctions lifted on Russia. So it doesn't strike me as sort of motivationally precise or accurate to think that Russia's just going to make this up because they want Trump to reduce sanctions on them. This is not proof, but it is very concerning.
If proof did surface, it wouldn't be surprising at all because Trump's second campaign manager, Paul Manafort, actually had to resign because he had lobbying ties to pro-Russian oligarchs in Ukraine. And some of this stuff doesn't even have to be a clandestine operation. Trump at a rally asked for Russian hackers to produce the 30,000 missing emails from Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, right out in the open. And one of the more interesting countries to watch over the next 4 years is going to be Russia. They got a green light from Washington, D.C. that they are no longer going to stand in the way. It's hard to predict the outcome, but I think a far more aggressive Russia is obvious. What they plan on doing with this increased aggressiveness is not totally clear, but it's very clear that the broader goal will be Putin wants Russia legitimized as a mainstream top player in geopolitics. It's also important to feed Vladimir Putin's ego. That's always a top priority in Russia. Think about how backwards this campaign was. Republicans claimed to hate infrastructure spending. Trump had the biggest infrastructure spending proposal of anybody. Republicans love getting involved as the world policeman. Trump says no getting involved with Middle East dictators. Similar position to Bernie Sanders. Republicans still vote for him. And of course, Republicans don't like Russia. They criticized Obama as a sissy for not starting a war with Russia when Russia invaded Ukraine. And now I'm sure they'll praise Trump for, quote, dealing pragmatically with the Russians by letting them do whatever the hell they want and letting Vladimir Putin play Trump like a violin. It is amazing what Republicans voted for, and prediction, it will be amazing what Republicans accept in the name of a Republican president.
And honestly, I don't know whether to be concerned or relieved that Trump isn't practicing a lot of the things that he preached over the campaign.
Yeah, no, in many ways, we don't want Trump to do a lot of the stuff he said he would during his campaign. It will just be interesting if it's spun in a way where his supporters don't even realize that he doesn't do it. But plenty of time for that. Let's take a break. After the break, I want to talk about something people have emailed me over the weekend about, and I've really been thinking about. Is the president of the United States still the leader of the free world if that president is Donald Trump? We'll talk about that next. Join us on Reddit at davidpakman.com/Reddit. That is REDDIT.